Wait, what's going on? I was shocked by the sight that greeted me as I entered my room. My cherished accessories and favorite clothes had vanished. Could it be a burglary? Panicking, I reached for my cell phone to call the police. Just as I expected, you're panicking. Jess? Just as you expected, you don't mean. Exactly that. I threw away your belongings, treating them like trash. What? Seeing me in a state of panic, my mother-in-law laughed heartily and uttered the unbelievable. She had thrown away my belongings as trash? Why would she do such a thing? I was about to ask her, but she started explaining the truth before I could. How long do you plan to leech off this house? Hurry up and leave. I've thrown away various things to make it easier for you to move out. You should be thankful. I see. So the harassment she's been giving me was to drive me out. As for me, I no longer had any intention of getting along with my mother-in-law. If that's how it's going to be. All right, I understand. I'll leave. Good, that makes things easier. Make it quick if you're going. Yes, but if I leave the house so suddenly, I won't have anywhere to stay. Could I have a week's grace? Fine, I can allow that much. Just make sure you leave after a week. My mother-in-law gave me a week's grace. With that much time, I can find a new place. Just you watch. I'll show you, the one who drove me out. My name is May. I switched to being a freelance illustrator 3 years ago. Having worked at an animation production company after graduating from vocational school, I had a decent amount of savings. I'm thinking of going independent. Is that so? I won't object if that's what you want, May. Give it your best shot. I'll support you. When I asked my husband, Andrew, if it was okay to go independent, he responded positively. I had assumed he would object. Surprised, my eyes widened. Andrew and I have been dating since vocational school, and after graduation, we each went our separate ways but continued dating smoothly and got married in our 3rd year of working. This year marks our 8th wedding anniversary. Really? Thank you. Well, I'm a man who gave up on the illustrator path. I'm personally curious to see how far you can go, May. Just don't overdo it, okay? If you're in trouble, you can always rely on me. Yeah. I'll do my best. With that determination, I quit my job and became a freelancer, but it wasn't easy to make a living. For the first few months, there were times when I had no income and felt down. Maybe it was impossible for someone like me to earn a living as an illustrator. I had such thoughts many times, but I didn't give up and continued drawing illustrations and posting them on social media. Then one day, one of my illustrations went viral, and I became a well-known illustrator on social media. Since then, I've grown rapidly, earning up to $20,000 a month through corporate projects and app stickers. It's all thanks to you pushing me forward. Thank you. Nah, it's just your hard work being recognized. That's really something. I truly am grateful to my husband. If he had said no back then, I wouldn't have been able to earn this much. But still, it's not like I've saved up a huge fortune yet. Ideally, I'd love to buy our own home and have a workspace for myself. Right now, we're living in a cheap apartment, just the two of us. It's great that my work has increased, but I'm running out of space to keep my materials. One day, thinking about all this, my husband suggested moving in with his mother. Mom's the only one living at home, and there are spare rooms. How about it? Really? Can we just move in like that? Of course, I've talked to Mom about it. Ever since Dad ran off with his mistress when I was a kid, we've had spare rooms. Mom said she doesn't mind at all if May uses them. Such a generous offer, I couldn't find a reason to say no. I immediately told Andrew that we should move into his mother's house. 2 weeks later, when we arrived at my mother-in-law Jess's house, she warmly welcomed us. It's been a while, May. It has. Please take good care of me from today on. Likewise. I heard from Andrew that you're now a popular artist, right? Oh, not really that much. Feel free to use the room as you like. Come on in. Living with my kind mother-in-law and husband, I had no worries at all. I'm going to work hard on my creative projects in this house. With a renewed determination, I started my new life at my in-laws. But at that time, I had no idea about my seemingly kind mother-in-law's true nature. After living at my in-laws for 3 months, I had gotten quite used to the environment. All right, that's the work delivered. My work was going smoothly, and I was earning much more now thanks to the upgraded workspace. Things were really going well. I got a bit carried away, but 2 months later, our lives started to go awry when Andrew suddenly got fired from his job. What should we do? Andrew came home sighing deeply. What happened to him? Did something go wrong at work? What's wrong? Did something happen with your sales? After graduating from vocational school, Andrew worked as a salesman at a major trading company for factories. I thought he might have failed in some sales activities. But the response I got was something I never expected. I got fired. What? What did you just say? I mean, I got fired, laid off. That can't be true, right? Andrew was always so diligent at work. Why would this happen? Did you do something wrong to get laid off? Of course not. It's just that our department had been underperforming for a while, and the company saw us as a liability. They told us to either accept a major pay cut and a dead-end job or take a generous severance package and leave. It's practically forced retirement, you know. I couldn't ask Andrew anything more. There were no words I could offer to my husband, who had been so abruptly betrayed by the company he had dedicated himself to. All I could do was to give him some space. From the next day, Andrew began a life of lazing around at home, having lost his job. Honestly, I wished he would snap out of it and start looking for work, but he probably wasn't ready yet. No choice. I'll have to work harder. For Andrew and my mother-in-law, who wasn't working, I immersed myself in my work more than ever. Sometimes I worked non-stop from morning till night, skipping meals. I might have overdone it. Even though I sometimes thought that, after about a month, a substantial amount of money was deposited into my account. Seeing an amount I had never seen before, I unintentionally said to Andrew, "You don't have to rush to find a job. I made $100,000 this month. With this much, we can live comfortably as long as we don't splurge." Whoa, that's amazing. Andrew complimented me, saying I did great, but his eyes looked cold. Why did I tell him about my earnings at that time? From the next day, I began to receive relentless harassment from my mother-in-law Jess because of this. The following morning, "May, come here for a sec." While I was working, I heard Jess calling me loudly from downstairs. That's unusual. What's going on? Okay, just a minute, I replied and paused my work to go downstairs. Jess was standing in the living room. What's up? Can you do the laundry? But I haven't finished my work yet. You can do that any time, right? I've been quiet till now, but isn't it about time you start taking care of the house properly? You're a wife, aren't you? Well, she has a point. I can understand where Jess is coming from. Until now, I might have been too engrossed in my work and left chores like cleaning and laundry to her. Feeling remorseful, I told her, "You're right. Maybe I was wrong. Okay, I'll do the laundry as soon as I finish this current task. Just leave it there, please." Later, as promised, I did the laundry and cleaned the living room. Maybe doing this kind of thing once in a while is a nice break. I thought it was a light-hearted matter, but from that day, Jess's mistreatment escalated. Always drawing pictures. Are you a kindergartner? If you have time for such silly things, go shopping. I can't believe your drawings sell. And so on, she started to complain about everything I did. I was constantly being overworked, and my projects weren't progressing at all. On bad days, I was woken up before 5 a.m. to prepare breakfast, inevitably reducing my sleep. I couldn't focus on my work, and the amount of work I could do each day decreased significantly. Though my income hadn't dropped drastically yet, I was worried I might eventually become unable to work. Anxious, I decided to ask Andrew to talk to Jess about stopping the harassment. When we were alone in the bedroom, I brought it up. Lately, your mom has been picking on me. It's okay to be bossed around, but being at her mercy from morning till night. I might not be able to work at this rate. Could you, maybe, gently ask her to stop? What a pain. Why do I have to say it? You should tell her yourself. Besides, if you're worried about not being able to work, why don't we just move out? You're making money, right? What? What kind of response is that? I've been working so hard because you've been lounging around without looking for a job. I agree with Andrew that if I have complaints, I should speak up myself. But how can I say such a thing to my mother-in-law? In the end, Andrew turned his back on me and went to sleep without really listening to me. 6 months later. Every day, I continued to face relentless mistreatment from Jess and was exhausted both physically and mentally. Andrew still hadn't made any effort to find a job. My work pace had drastically slowed, and my earnings had dropped to less than half of what they used to be. I'm so tired of this. Realizing this, I found myself having left the house and arrived at a nearby park. Sitting on a bench without doing anything felt incredibly soothing. After about an hour, I felt relaxed and returned home. I'm not in the mood to work today. Maybe I'll take a nap. Thinking this, I went back to my room and was shocked by what I saw. Wait, what's going on? I couldn't believe my eyes when I entered my room. All my cherished accessories and favorite clothes were gone. Could it be a burglary? Panicking, I reached for my cell phone to call the police. Then, suddenly, Jess spoke to me from behind. You're panicking just as I expected. Jess? Just as you expected, you don't mean. That's right. I threw out your personal belongings as trash. What? Seeing me in a panic, Jess laughed out loud and said something unbelievable. She threw away my belongings as trash? Why would she do that? I was about to ask her, but Jess started explaining before I could. How long do you plan to parasitize this house? Get out already. I threw away various things to make it easier for you to leave. You should be thankful. I see. So the harassment I received was to drive me out. Well, I have no intention of getting along with Jess anymore if that's how it is. Understood. I'll leave. Good, that makes things easier. Make it quick. Yes, but if I leave the house so suddenly, I won't have anywhere to stay. Can I have a week's grace? Fine, that should be okay. But make sure you leave after a week. Jess gave me a week's grace. With that much time, I can find a new place. Just you watch. I'll show you, the one who drove me out. The next day, I started looking for a new place. I considered a single-family home, but despite Jess, I decided to move into a luxury high-rise condo. Of course, I won't be taking Andrew and Jess with me. I have no intention of living with a man who just lazes around without looking for work, relying on my earnings. Besides, I have saved up a good amount of money from my past earnings. Using that money, I went to a real estate agent and signed a contract to buy an apartment in the high-rise. Now, I'm ready to leave that house at any time. And a week later, the day I finally left my in-laws' house, I brought up divorce to Andrew. Can you sign this? What is this? Can't you see? It's a divorce paper. No. I get that, but why all of a sudden? Andrew seemed confused being handed the divorce paper. At first, I felt sorry for you being laid off and pampered you, but you never seemed to try to find a job, and you just ignored the way your mom was treating me. If that's the case, there's no need for us to stay married. So, does divorcing mean you're leaving this house? Yes, I am. I haven't told you, but I'm leaving this house today. Leaving? What about a place to live? You don't have one, right? Don't worry about that. I already have my next place sorted out. After all, you were the one who said if I didn't like the harassment from Jess, I should move out. Are you really sure you won't regret divorcing? Regret? Don't make me laugh. There's no way I would. Rather, I would definitely regret it if I continued living with you. I couldn't help but laugh at Andrew's question. All right. I understand. Reluctantly, Andrew signed the divorce papers. Now, I no longer need to support this man. The last thing to do was confront Jess. Just before leaving the house, I asked Jess why she had been so cruel to me. After all, the mistreatment started when I told Andrew about my earnings. Surely, something about that must have upset her. Jess, thank you for everything up to now. Yeah. The thought of not having to see your face anymore is refreshing. By the way, why did you treat me so harshly? Oh, there's no deep reason. I was just irritated that you earned more than Andrew. He told me, you know? At one point, you were earning $100,000. Earning more than your husband, what were you thinking? Normally, you should earn less to save face for your husband. Plus, Andrew was paying for the utilities and everything for this house, right? He must have been using his savings to pay for it since he lost his job. Unlike you, he's really a good kid. What is she talking about? Is she that foolish? To think I was harassed for such a petty reason. And she's mistaken about Andrew paying for everything. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens after I leave. A husband and mother-in-law with no income. They will probably become unable to live their current lifestyle very soon. But I didn't say that and just left it unsaid. So that's the reason. Understood. A wife who can't respect her husband should leave, right? Well, then, I'll be on my way. With that, I left my in-laws' house. On my way to my new place in the luxury high-rise condo, I stopped by the office to submit the divorce papers. Now, I've completely severed ties with Jess and Andrew. Even if they come crying to me, there's no way I'm helping them. Arriving at my new place, I immediately started organizing my things. The apartment, being luxurious, was spacious, and I secured a considerably large space for my workroom. All right. Time to work hard to make up for all the interruptions I've had. After roughly finishing unpacking, I immersed myself in work. A month later, my cell phone rang. Looking at the screen, I saw Andrew's name. What does he want now? Honestly, I was in the middle of work and initially ignored it, but he kept calling. How annoying. Irritated, I reluctantly answered the call. What? I'm busy. May! Where are you right now? Where? At home, working. I want to talk to you. Can I come over? Huh? I have nothing to talk about with you. Why do I have to meet someone like him? Such a hassle. Just as I was about to dismiss him and hang up, I heard Jess's voice over the phone. May. It's been a while, could we please meet and talk? Jess, who was always so domineering, sounded quite desperate. They're really groveling and begging, aren't they? Reluctantly, I agreed to meet them. Fine. I'll meet you, but it's a hassle to go out, so can you come here? I'll send Andrew the location. I ended the call after saying that. But what could be so important that they need to talk about it in person? While pondering this, I resumed the work I had paused. 30 minutes later, my home's intercom rang. It seemed they had arrived. Yes? We're here, and this place, it's incredible. Did you come here to chit-chat? If so, leave. No, sorry. Please let us in. Through the monitor, I could see Andrew and Jess standing behind him. I unlocked the auto lock and let them into my house. Shortly after, they rang my doorbell. Letting you in. I unlocked the door and let them inside, where they looked around in amazement. What is this place? A hotel? May you moved to such an incredible place. Why did they come here? To tour my house? They seemed too shocked by the luxury of the room to get to the point. So, why did you come here? If you don't have a reason, leave quickly. You're interrupting my work. I sat on the sofa and spoke to them sternly. Then, Andrew and Jess, remembering their original purpose, hurriedly started begging in front of me. Please! We can't pay for living expenses. Electricity, gas, water, everything's been cut off. Could you help us out a little? Help you out? No way, that's not happening. Why should I, the one they kicked out, take care of them? Why should I pay for that? You live in such a nice house, you can spare a little, right? Well, yes. I know I did wrong to you, but we were family once. Can't you help us out? How can they say such things so shamelessly? I can hardly understand it. Listening to them is just a waste of time. Listen. I could buy this house because I worked myself to death, okay? I was the one paying for your living expenses while Andrew didn't bother to work. I was harassed by Jess, which reduced my work. Still, I had to cut back on sleep and worked while being physically and mentally drained. Do you think you can understand that? Of course, you can't. You just exploited me and relied on my earnings without any struggle. As I said this, they were silent, unable to argue. Is that all you wanted to say? Then leave now. And don't come back begging again. I won't help you, and I don't want to see your faces ever again. If you come again, I'll report you to the police as intruders. Wait, then how are we supposed to live? The audacity of them. Even now, they still have the nerve to come crying to me. That's not my problem. You could get a part-time job or something. And if Andrew works, you too can earn enough to live. Don't come crying to me. I won't help people who exploited and harassed me. Now get out. I had reached my breaking point. I yelled at Jess louder than I ever had in my life. Realizing there was no more negotiating, Jess and Andrew hurriedly left my house. Their expressions when they saw the inside of my house were priceless. They used to be so overbearing, and now they came begging. Like I'd ever help them. Let them struggle on their own. After watching them leave, I returned to my workroom and continued with my work. A month later, I had planned to take it easy from the afternoon after doing a fair amount of work. Oh no. I just remembered, I hadn't opened the living room curtains yet today. With that thought, I wrapped up my work and headed to the living room. As I opened the curtains and looked out the window, I saw Jess and Andrew wandering around the grounds of the high-rise condo. Isn't that Andrew and Jess? Have they come back again, not having learned their lesson? But they weren't ringing my doorbell, they were just wandering around. They must be wary of the threat I made. Well, can't be helped. Might as well throw them a lifeline. Thinking so, I called them while looking down at the two from the window. Hello? What are you doing? May? What do you mean, what are we doing? Don't play dumb. I can see you from my apartment right now. Remember what I said? I'll call the police. Wait, we're just wandering, but we're not doing anything, right? Well, that's true. Their actions are totally suspicious, though. Then what are you doing here? Let me guess, you came to ask for my help, right? Well, yes, but since then, I've reflected on my actions and found a job, though it's just a temporary one. I haven't received my salary yet, so I was wondering if you could lend us a little. I'll definitely pay you back when I get paid. So, you can do it if you try. But it's because you only act when you're desperate that I gave up on you. Wow, you got a job, huh? Good for you. If you're working, why don't you borrow from a payday lender or something? Bye. I said that and unilaterally ended the call with Andrew. About an hour later, I heard the sound of police sirens. Could it be? Feeling a bit excited, I looked outside to see Andrew and Jess being stuffed into a police car. Ah, so it's come to this. I hadn't reported them. Probably, other residents had seen them as suspicious and called the police. Since that incident, they seem to have stopped relying on me, and I haven't seen them since. I deleted Andrew's contact information and changed my cell phone number. From now on, I'll earn for myself, live without being disturbed by anyone, and never be bothered by them again.